Thank you. Welcome. What would you like to say this morning?
Welcome. Just to let you know, I listen to your show every morning. The moment of gratitude is something that we practice in this household all
Thank
the
you.
time.
Oh,
So
that's
I
beautiful.
just thank you for that. Sister, I just want to add on to last what your comments with the mayor, the New York City mayor.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
yesterday I was, a lot of times I listen to your show late, the after show because I can't listen to it during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think there's just some unfair judgment of him
Mm.
from your view. You gotta understand why these leaders came out, black leaders came out. These
Mm.
are leaders that's been around from the 60s, 70s,
Yeah.
and they were very instrumental in our struggle in the city. The
Yes.
reason why they came out for this brother, because, sister, he was involved with the movement from the 80s to the 90s to 2000. I was
Mm-hmm.
with him.
Mm-hmm.
He stood up for black folks, sister, a lot. And I just think, the depiction of him is unfair. Now, there
Mm.
may be things that y'all may feel that he hasn't done, but I can tell you things. I have things, and I would like to, connect with your producers to send you a lot of things that he's done for the community, sister.
Mm.
You don't understand the attacks he get from the other
Yeah.
side, sister.
Yeah.
He
No,
does.
and I think what you're saying is absolutely true. And I have stood in some of those movement spaces that he has stood in. And I have seen these are elders who are revered. I mean, we're talking some names of people who got more decades doing movement work than I have on in living on this planet. So I don't think you're wrong at all. My issue, however, is that's who you might be as a person. But when you become an elected official, because my approach is that we are cold, calculated, and ruthless when it comes to the results of our vote, that to me we set to the side and we think about how you have governed in this position, taking nothing from your history, taking nothing from who you are and who you were and what you stood for. Let's look at the governing decisions. Because, and let me ask you this, friend, and I appreciate so much the spirit in which you are raising this, and I am grateful for the opportunity to engage with you. If you had, and let's take him off the table. Let's pretend we're talking about some random mayor who's not currently in office, but just hypothetically a mayor. If you were to find that this mayor, who who we don't know, you're just a random person, if you were to find that mayor had cut all of the budgets for all of the social services that your community needed, and instead chose to invest hundreds of millions of dollars into a budget for the NYPD that has already topped $11 billion, would you say that that's a good leadership decision?
Well, what I would say is, sister, is that and just so you can understand, the reason why he proposed those cuts, which he immediately instituted again, is because of the migrant issue. And this is why he was going to Washington, because, sister, I know this brother. He deeply wants to do so much more for the community. And this migrant.
So I just want to stop you there because the migrants are a big deal. But he didn't cut all the budgets, friend. He cut all the budgets for the social services that would have not only met the needs of our community, also met the needs of the migrants, and he invested in policing. Now, if you knew that this mayor was also a former Republican and a former cop, aside from what you may feel about this current mayor, to me, that is a bad leadership decision. When you make a decision, because making a decision to cut funding to enforce, to add to the police, to sweep the homeless off the trains, while not also investing in homeless shelters so that they could sustain the influx, that's a bad leadership decision. To make a decision that if someone's in a mental health crisis, instead of investing in the mental health professionals who can preserve that person's life and get them the care that they need, you choose to invest in the police, whose only responsibility is to arrest that person going through that mental health crisis and dump them off at a mental health institution that you have not equitably funded. That's a bad leadership decision. So this is nothing at all about him personally. If you were to find that the mayor, who is a fictional character, we're not talking about Mayor Adams, a fictional character, if you were to find that foreign governments told them, hey, man, you see that one group right there who's your constituents? They got this community center. We don't want you to fuck with them no more because they are in a political party that is in opposition to us. And then you learn, according to the allegations in the complaint, that mayor did that. Would you not want to ask what other either foreign entities or billionaire entities are able to call on the phone and get him to jump and have him say how high? Because when we think about his response to what was happening at Columbia University and the fact that the police came in like gangsters and swept them kids off that campus. And then we learned that he was on phone calls with wealthy billionaires, some of the same billionaires who have helped to dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Aside from what we know about him personally and who he was before, when we think about the governing decisions, we can have a conversation about whether or not he is a good mayor, but we cannot lead into that conversation with the decades of all the work that's been done and before we did this, that, and the other. Not when we have concrete evidence in front of us that indicates that the very people whom he is now appealing to keep him protected from critique are the very same people who are suffering from the negative implications of the bad policies that he made. Does that make sense?
You do know that. Well, yes, it's definitely. But do you know some of the stuff is alleged? Like what they're alleging in this criminal case.
Absolutely. That's why I don't think anyone should cause him to. I don't think the governor should remove him. It's alleged, and he has the right to defend himself, and he is innocent until proven guilty. But can you lead when your education chancellor has just stepped down? Was going to step down in December, now stepping down in 2 weeks. Can you lead when you have to change the rules so that if your first deputy mayor steps down, there's an easier way for power to continue? Can you lead when your attorney abandons you and resigns on a Saturday night? Can you lead when your police commissioner, 2 of them had to step down, and then the 3rd that you installed had their own house raided? You can lead. You can do a lot of things to demonstrate you can lead, but we're talking about governing the largest city in the nation. And while you are defending yourself, as is your right to do, and you are innocent until proven guilty, it's all alleged, so fight and clear your name. But we, the people, don't have to bear the brunt of that while you figuring all that out. Not when it's alleged that you also took $10 million in matching funds from us to support your campaign, which is election fraud. So there are a lot of allegations, and I believe everyone is innocent until proven guilty. But we, the people, shouldn't have to bear the brunt of those bad decisions. Final comment?
There's a lot. Yes, there's a lot of people that support him. So there's a lot of people that want him.
As they should.
And sis, with the homeless, I think he gets not a shake on that. Sister, I've seen him in circles tell the power structure that, hey, these homeless people, they want to criminalize them instead of us addressing these issues. He has been to the state to get more beds for the homeless. Mm-hmm. He has tried to deal with the mental health issue. He's gotten a lot of pushback since
So Kayshawn, what we have here is a substantive debate on his policies. That is exactly what should happen. But what can't happen is that you go to all the black churches of note and in an effort to squelch this form of conversation. What can't happen is that you bring down the elders before your indictment is even released for a press conference that is embarrassing at best and diminishes the significance of their legacies. That can't be how we start a conversation on the substantive implications of these policies. It simply cannot be. And when your entire administration, when we wake up each morning and the question is who got raided, whose devices were seized, who's under federal investigation, who's been subpoenaed, that takes away from the business of governing. And I would also just say it's very important that we are very clear about the fact that decisions that are made as it pertains to budgeting all stand in the light of what you did invest in. And if what you did invest in, if what you brought back in terms of policing was stop and frisk, which we had to push against, if what you brought back was the strategic response group, which is one of the groups that was at the heart of the police brutality that black men were facing, when you make those decisions and then you appeal to the black community for coverage, I find it abominable. And I have been in rooms where I have heard him on the microphone say those activists, they're getting their activist checks and they're so hard on my police. And I need you all talking to a room of predominantly white leaders, because what is being said in rooms with black leaders, I guarantee you, is not the same thing that's being said in the room with white leaders. I've been in both of them rooms. And what the message in the white rooms is, you got to stand with me and my police. You got to make sure you stop these activists from engaging in this police reform, what he did to bail reform, and continually to take this issue that was going to make it better for black and brown people who were negatively impacted by the policing system, a policing system that he has invested in. We should have that conversation without the burden of the invocation of black clergy and black elders as cover. Don't use that as cover as a way of squelching our ability to have a meaningful conversation about whether or not you should continue in this office.